think we can all say that the Anoa'i family will never run out of wrestlers, right? Jacob Fatu is currently the United States champion, Jey Uso is the world heavyweight champion, Zilla Fatu is killing shit in the indies. I can go on and on. One man that I think isn't underrated, but I feel like he's been getting a lot more appreciation these past few years, and someone that I always thought was super badass as a kid, Umaga. Umaga was a fantastic beast, and he had one of the best Intercontinental Championship reigns ever, and was a main event star whenever you needed him to be against Triple H or John Cena. But I wanted to look at his final run because the match that we're going to end this video with, I know very, very well, and I just wanted to see how Umaga was booked in his final year on Smackdown.
Please check out the Jonah and TNA video if you haven't yet, and I think with that being said, let's go!
So this one actually starts off pretty simple. In the summer of 2008, June 23rd to be exact, WWE would hold the draft on Raw, and Umaga would be drafted to SmackDown. And Mr. Uso Fatu is stepping on business as his first match would consist of just me. A few days later, Umaga would make his SmackDown debut against Drax and Batista, and so we already got a hoss fight to kick off our video. Also, y'all remember when this shit happened with Edge and Batista? I watched that match live when I was 6 years old and was genuinely concerned for Batista. It's such a brutal collision. Batista and Umaga slug it out to kick us off. Umaga drops Dave with a back elbow and then tries to sit on his head, but no one's home. Batista immediately gets up and looks for the Batista bomb, but Umaga then back body drops him and gives him a big throat shot. Umaga gets some decent offense on Dave, followed by the running headbutt for the 2 count. Also, Mick Foley is on commentary. 2008 was a weird time. They beef it out with some more rights. Batista gets hammer thrown into the corner. I'm trying to give you something here, but this is TV Batista, don't expect anything outstanding. Batista fights out of a rest hold with a jawbreaker, hits Umaga a few times, and then Umaga bodies Dave with a dropkick. Dave then gets the kick out. Umaga with some noggin knocks on Dave's bald ass head. Oh wait, he's not bald yet, but just go with it. This match is super slow. I mean, out of all the videos I've done for wrestling, this is definitely the slowest match I've seen for sure. Batista with the boot in the corner, Umaga goes crashing off of a splash, Batista lines Umaga into the corner, Umaga then fights off the Irish whip, and then Batista kicks him. Immediately following the spinebuster, Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, Chavo Guerrero, and Edge would jump Batista, causing a disqualification win for Mr. Dave Drax. Umaga joins in on the attack with the Sabate kick as he pushes off the Edge heads and looks to finish the job himself. Edge is shitting his pants with Umaga at his helm, and Umaga with the super ass attack in the corner. La Familia hold Batista down as Umaga attempts a top rope splash, but Triple H then appears and sends Umaga on his nuts onto the top. Batista and Triple H take care of the Edge heads to complete the segment. I mean, definitely not a good match, but Umaga seemed like a very formidable threat to the SmackDown roster in his debut, right before the Master of the Shovel and the Sledgehammer appeared. Next week on the 4th of July edition on SmackDown, I just so happened to skip to this part before the next match, so enjoy Prime Maria Kanellis. I know I sure did. Yeah! The Samoan Bulldozer walks down to the ring, and his opponent for tonight will be SmackDown's #1 announcer, Funaki. Funaki with the boots out of the corner as the bell rings. He then gets laid out with a clothesline. Funaki then gets shit whipped into the turnbuckle. Umaga with a second shit whip and then a big Savate kick as he then starts dragging Funaki's carcass into the corner and starts hammering on him. Umaga makes Funaki kiss his ass and then lays him out with the Samoan spike to pick up a squash match. Our following week on SmackDown, Mr. Kennedy would compete against Domino, who is without Deuce or Cherry? Kennedy would score the win, and as MVP would hop off commentary to antagonize Kennedy. Umaga would kick Kennedy in the mouth. He would then nail the spike on Kennedy as MVP would equip sunglasses. Kennedy would get his redemption arc started about 7 days later. Oh, hold on. Kennedy would immediately get pushed down and then bitch slaps Umaga, but that soon after gives him a big elbow. Kennedy would move out of the way of the headbutt, Umaga gets his head kicked, and then Umaga kills him with a big lariat. Funniest crowd sign of this video with this guy saying NASCAR is fake. Kennedy gets a splash in the corner after I saw the sign, and then Umaga shuts him down with a big elbow out of the corner. Umaga with the hammer throw into the corner, followed by a leg drop to the side of Kennedy's head for a 2 count. Umaga is taking the monster heel roll in this match, so I had completely forgotten that Kennedy was face around this time. Umaga steps on Kennedy's face and God motherfucking damn! Umaga's working stiff tonight. Umaga holds a claw hold on Kennedy for a while before Ken responds before 3. Ken immediately gets dropped with the Samoan drop as we go to the commercials. Kennedy tries to lift up Umaga, which he kinda does pretty easily, as it takes more time for Umaga to counter with the weight shift for a 2 count. Umaga drags Ken into the middle and climbs to the middle rope, but nobody's home for the headbutt. And then Kennedy begins his comeback. Ken dodges a splash in the corner and then hits a feint roundhouse kick for a 2 count. Ken goes for the mic check, but Umaga just holds on, and then pulls in Ken for the Samoan spike to secure the 3 count. Next week in Philly, we hold a battle royal to determine who will challenge Triple H for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Our competitors tonight will be Mr. Kennedy, the Great Khali, with Ranjan Singh of course, Montel Vontavious Porter with his blow-up tent, fuck yeah, the Samoan Bulldozer, Jeff motherfucking Hardy, and Umaga and Big Show start firing on each other in the corner as the bell rings, and Mick Foley says something peculiar.
Some of his speech was positively Obama-esque, was it not? I don't know what the heck Obama-esque is. I'm not gun-held.
Big Show lays out Umaga with a sidewalk slam as the 7-footers start their Godzilla battle. Umaga then hits double savate kicks on the Giants as we cut to commercial. Nothing happens until Jeff clotheslines MVP over the top and eliminates him. Soon after, Umaga tries to toss out Hardy, but Jeff skins the cat. Umaga and Big Show start having a meat slap competition where Show then shoulder tackles Umaga and then just clotheslines him over the top to eliminate him.
Well, that was a load of shit.
Next week on Smackdown, Umaga would come out and stare at Big Show after his match, and that's literally all that happened. You would think we would have a hoss fight underway or some sort of rivalry, but sadly Umaga would suffer an injury with a torn PCL at a live event in Johnson City, Tennessee on August 2nd against Jeff Hardy in a no disqualifications match. Umaga would return to in-ring action back on SmackDown about 6 months later on January 30th, 2009, and he also has a new entrance theme, and even though it does fit him, I don't think anything can surpass his original entrance theme. Umaga will be making his return against the redneck party god, Jimmy Wang Yang. Umaga pushes Yang down and tries to outspeed Umaga, but this gives him a big old black hole slam. Umaga with the hammer throw, followed by the hammer fist, and then a choke to Jimmy in the corner, followed by the signature ass attack, and you can't go wrong with the classics. Speaking of which, Yang gets taken to Samoan Spike City, and then Umaga is back in Dominant. Hopefully.
We're back on Friday Night Smackdown.
And Umaga is hungry for some action, as surprisingly he gets a not rematch, different gimmick. He takes on Kung Fu Naki. Terrible gimmick, but come on, everyone loves Funaki. Bro, his entrance theme goes so hard. Sad that no one in the crowd is singing along.
Kung Fu Naki. You gotta start singing the songs sometimes,
Umaga tosses Funaki into the corner, Naki boots Umaga, and then a big ol' straight kick kills Funaki in the first round. Umaga drags his corpse into the corner, hammers in some elbows, hits him with his big ol' ass, and then the Samoan Spike will knock the bandana off of Funaki for the win. 2 weeks later, Umaga goes one-on-one with
Colt Cabana, boom, boom.
Umaga drops Mr. Scotty Goldman, not Colt Cabana, with the black hole slam. Goldman avoids a splash in the corner, climbs up to the second rope, but then eats a super kick from the Bulldozer. Umaga sinks in those shots in the corner, and then Colt Cabana eats some ass, followed by the Samoan Spike for the third dominant squash match in a row. Flash forward another 2 weeks, and Umaga goes one-on-one with the WWE Champion, Triple H. Alright, well that was a significant jump. Triple H and Umaga started off with some fiery shots and headbutts.
Umaga retaliates with the right hand.
Umaga with the hammer throw, Triple H explodes out of the corner with a clothesline, taking down Umaga. H with the boot out of the corner, he runs into a Samoan super kick, and Triple H has to be revived. Umaga then secures the kill with a running headbutt. Umaga Irish whips Hunter into a signature knee drop. Not too long after, Umaga catches a throat thrust to the game. Umaga goes running and goes crashing down over the ropes. Umaga holds on to his knee as the referee then goes to check on him. Triple H then has to deal with Legacy, who slither into the ring and start ganging up on him. We don't see Umaga for the rest of the match, and the bell never rings, so I guess this is going to run a no contest. Umaga would return from a 2-month hiatus after this match. CM Punk and Edge will be competing on the May 1st episode of SmackDown, as CM Punk would be able to hit the GTS, and Mr. Money in the Bank would try to cash in his title shot. Oh, hi, dog. And Mr. Money in the Bank would try to cash in his title shot. Out of nowhere, Umaga would appear and super kick Punk. Umaga would then give him the black hole slam and walk out of the arena. The following week, CM Punk and Edge would hold a rematch. CM Punk would win once again, but this time by countout, as Edge just says fuck this and leaves. As Punk tries to sucker Edge back in, Umaga would return and then give Punk the savate kick and black hole slam once again. Umaga then pulls Punk up by his hair and hits the Samoan Spike. Umaga will make his return to pay-per-view after almost 14 months at Judgment Day 2009 against the man he still has not explained his attacks to, and because it's Umaga, I don't think he'll communicate. CM Punk starts out with some kicks to try and knock him down. Umaga pushes Punk to his back. Punk moves from the headbutt and then continues with more kicks. Umaga gets a head kick off of the Irish whip. Punk flies off the springboard and gets caught with a black hole slam. Umaga works over CM Punk for a little bit with some headbutts and an ass drop to his arm, followed by a toss into the ring post. Umaga works over Punk, whips him out of the hold and hits a splash for a 2 count. Punk goes to the apron for a breather, but Umaga then gives Punk a big boot and he crashes into the barricade. Punk tries to flip Umaga over with the sunset flip, but Umaga's ass is just way too voluptuous and he drops it down onto Punk. CM Punk gets caught with a throat thrust, Umaga sets up for the second rope headbutt, but Punk then moves out of the way for the double down. Umaga goes flying over the top rope, and then CM Punk decides to fly as well and hits the dive. Punk hits a few roundhouses, a spin kick, a running knee, and then a single leg drop kick. Punk boots Umaga out of the corner, and then Umaga goes crashing. Punk follows up with his knee strike, but as he attempts the bulldog, Umaga follows through and corner splashes him. Punk dodges the super ass attack and then jumps off the middle rope and hits the bulldog. Punk goes for the cover, but Umaga launches Phil for the 2 count. Punk hits the kick on the apron and then hits a top rope clothesline but can't secure the 3 count. CM Punk looks to put Umaga to bed, but he's way too big and then maneuvers Punk into the Samoan drop for a kick out. Umaga looks at his thumb and sets up for the Samoan spike. Punk hits 3 roundhouses and attempts the GTS. I love these guys' sequences. Even though the storyline is basically non-existent, they still had a quality opener for a pay-per-view. 5 days later on SmackDown, CM Punk would compete against Chris Jericho. Punk would knock Y2J with the GTS, and then Jericho would fall to the outside, where Umaga would then whack Punk with a Samoan strap and give him the Savate kick. Umaga would power Punk into the corner into the Tree of Woe, and it would start laying in some knees and spikes him while he's hanging there. As I see the Umaga ate all my ho-ho sign, Umaga grabs a microphone. Wait. Umaga has a...
You think you're hurt now? Way too Extreme Rules.
Umaga's first English words, holy fucking shit! Umaga then starts whipping Punk with the strap as Punk writhes in pain. Umaga will return for his first match on SmackDown in almost 3 months, strapped up, as he takes on the Shaman of Sexy, John Morrison. The referee yells at Umaga for him to put his strap down before the bell can ring. Morrison gets a few shots on Umaga before he's laid out with a back elbow. John with the corner evasion, rolls through Umaga's legs, gets some shots, and then laid out with a clothesline. Umaga's momentum sends him over the top rope, where then John Morrison jumps from the inside turnbuckle for a crossbody to the floor. Morrison tries the sunset flip, Umaga misses the ass drop, and then Morrison gives him a sliding knee, but Umaga then pops him up to his feet for a 1 count. Umaga pops John up for a beautiful fucking Samoan drop, and then Morrison rolls to the outside as we hit a Little Caesars commercial. Morrison works his way up with some knees and an elbow, and an attempt at a suplex causes Umaga to throw him onto the ropes, and then super kick him all the way to the floor. And Morrison sold the fuck out of that. Umaga works an armbar for a while, John hits a Pele kick, jumps into Umaga's arms, and then gets absolutely shit-canned out of the Black Hole Slam for a 2 count. Another armbar workout ensues, Morrison then recovers off the Irish Whip with a Tilt-A-Whirl DDT. Man, I'm loving this match, but that gets Morrison the 2 count. Morrison then tries to knock the Samoan down with a drop kicks him in the knee, and then as he attempts the Shining Wizard, Umaga gives him a throat thrust. Morrison moves out of the corner and hits the Flying Chuck, and Umaga rolls to the outside. Umaga gathers his strap that he threw out and whips John in the ribs and back, followed by a toss into the barricade. Umaga manhandles Morrison with the strap, whipping the living dog shit out of him. Umaga then puts the Guru of Greatness in the Tree of Woe and ties up Morrison's legs with the strap and starts doing some business. CM Punk then comes to the Morrison's rescue and then bonks Umaga in the head with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Punk then gives him a knee and bulldog onto the case as well. Before we get to the Samoan strap match, 2 days before Extreme Rules, hey, it's also my 7th birthday, shout out Lil Me. But anyway, Umaga and Punk are gonna run it back in a 1-on-1 match on SmackDown.
Cult of Personality might be a banger song,
but you gotta admit that This Fire Burns is a fucking banger. Umaga comes stomping down to the ring, smacking his strap on the stairs. Wait a minute. Punk tries to chop down the tree, but Umaga knees him. Punk avoids a slam and then gets whipped out of the attack. Punk avoids a splash and then Umaga crashes into the turnbuckle, where Punk recovers with a flying crossbody for a 2 count as we go to our break. Punk with a super kick to the chest, Umaga catches a roundhouse and then gets hit with an enziguri and falls to the floor. CM Punk goes to dive onto him, but Umaga gives him a throat thrust on the way down. Umaga then yeets CM Punk into the barricade and then scores a 2 count back in the ring. Punk fights out of a bear hug, runs off the ropes, and eats a devastating Samoan Savate. Umaga gets a double boot uppercut and a springboard clothesline connects, but can't be successful for the 3. Punk drop kicks the knee of Umaga and then hits the drive-by drop kick, and again it's a 2 count. Punk gets caught and spun out with the Black Hole Slam for a 2.5 count. Umaga gets the middle turnbuckle in his ass, gets Punk's signature knee and pushes him out of the corner. Umaga grabs his Samoan strap, and as the ref tries to get it away, CM Punk lifts up Umaga and nails the go-to-sleep for the win. We have now gotten to the final match of the video, and Umaga's last ever match in WWE. We out here at the inaugural Extreme Rules event in 2009, and Umaga faces his rival for this video, CM Punk, in a Samoan strap match. Simple rules: touch all 4 corners, get fucked up by your opponent, it resets. Understood? Splendid. Punk and Umaga start out with a game of tug-of-war, as Punk begins the offense. Umaga with a back elbow touches 2 of the turnbuckles and then gets hit with the knee in the corner. Punk gets 2 of his own and taps another corner, and then he eats a Samoan drop. Umaga heads to the floor and then pulls Punk by the strap into the ring post and tries to rip Punk's shoulder off. He then starts using the strap to slam Punk's hand into the stairs. Umaga lays Punk out with the suplex onto the ropes and then super kicks him to the floor. Umaga starts touching the turnbuckles, where Punk then tries to keep Umaga from touching another on the floor. Punk sinks in a kick and then hits the springboard clothesline. Punk calls for nap time, but Umaga ain't tired and he hits a big guy wheel kick. Umaga crashes into the corner and then Punk pulls the strap between Umaga's legs and forgets that Zilla was already born. Punk with the knee, followed by the bulldog. Punk starts his journey around the ring, but as he goes to touch the fourth, Umaga pulls him in for the black hole slam. Umaga begins his expedition as he gets 3 of the turnbuckles, where Punk holds on to the bottom rope, and then Umaga goes charging at Punk, where Umaga then gets dumped to the floor. Punk starts his journey again and tries to go for the last turnbuckle. Umaga uses his strength and pulls him from the outside, and then the count gets reset. Umaga climbs to the top rope, but Punk notices and springs into action, and then uses the strap to send Umaga crashing down to the mat. Punk starts desperately touching the turnbuckles again, and Umaga holds him back from securing the win, where Punk then dodges the Samoan spike, hits the go to sleep, and then falls backwards to secure the final turnbuckle and win the Samoan strap match. Now, I mentioned that this was Umaga's last WWE match ever, and that's because literally the day after this match, he was released from his contract due to violations of the wellness policy, and he refused to go to rehab. Umaga may have been a troubled soul off screen, but goddammit, even in his final days, he was still such an amazing beast.